This is a 2009 Honda Accord. I made a video about this car, I don't know, over a year ago. It had a horrible death rattle caused by a bad timing belt tensioner. We did a timing belt and some other work to it. Anyway, the story I heard is that it was running rough, kind of down on power, so the owner replaced the spark plugs, the coils, and the fuel injectors. And it ran fine for a few minutes. Then he took it out for a drive and it went right back to the way it was. Misfires, no power. I pulled it in the shop. It had a dead miss on cylinder number 3. I pulled the spark plug out. It was black and wet and fouled. I put a used spark plug out of another Honda that I had in number 3, and the engine would sit here and idle just fine. I took it out for a drive, and well, it's probably easier if I just show you. The battery is completely spanked on this thing, which isn't helping us because every time I shut it off, the code's clear. But it's pretty bad. I think they'll be reset pretty quickly. Fun fact, on these Accords, the door handle is actually upside down. This, I believe, is the door handle off of the previous generation TSX, and they just flipped it over. It's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. All right, let's see if she'll start. Might help if I had the keys. Wonder where those are. Okay. It's actually running pretty good right now. Everybody always wants to know what scan tool I'm using. This is a Launch X431 Pro. And I'll be honest, I did not like it when I first got it, and I forced myself to use it, and now it's my most used scan tool. Okay, we have a P3400 valve pause system. I believe that's something to do with the VTEC. I'm not really sure. P0301, P0302, P0303, P0304, P0305, and a P0300. So that's a lot of misfires. Could it really be misfiring on all of the cylinders? Well, 5 out of 6? I don't think so. I'm not passing judgment, but this is not a road where I normally see bicycles. Everything's fine, car's running pretty decent. Beautiful day. So, we got a problem. The pedal's on the floor, and this is as fast as we can go. Doesn't sound too good, does it? Alright, we got our flashing check engine light. So we definitely have a misfire. Alright, that's foot to the floor. Yeah, there's something majorly wrong. This thing can't get out of its own way. And our lambda numbers are high. I can never remember if that's rich or lean. Huh, that's weird. The downstream O2 sensors are 0. It's actually running pretty decent, but it has no power. I mean, that's all we got. Ooh, it's not happy. All right, we're in park. That's foot to the floor. Oh, now it's stuck there. What is going on? What the heck is going on? I don't know, this is weird. Don't worry, it won't stop the scammers from calling me. Well, I screwed up. I shut it off, and of course now it won't restart. I think we're stranded. That's fun. Broke down on the side of the road. I don't know, I don't see anything wrong. I pulled the boot off, the throttle is closed. I don't know what's going on. Everything's plugged in, as far as I can tell. So I think it's got a plugged up catalytic converter. But that doesn't explain why the throttle would stick like that. Here comes my rescue. Rescued by my mother-in-law. Let's see if she'll go. Okay, let's get back to the shop. And it's so weird. It's back to running just fine. It's even got some power. Now we're back where we were now. No power. I don't know. Feels like a clogged converter to me. And then, you know, the back pressure is causing the fuel to build up and the plugs to foul. That's my theory anyway. Alright, we made it back. And it seems to be running pretty good now. Ooh. It is really smoking though. I don't know, something big's wrong with this thing. I don't know what it is. Maybe not. Doesn't sound too good under there. You guys hear that? I don't know. I think there might be something majorly wrong with this car. So I unplugged the upstream O2 sensor on bank 1. It's stuck at 1 now. But this thing's still smoking like a freight train. And the RPMs are still stuck high. So I don't know what's going on. We may have to bail out for a while. I'll be honest, I don't know what the problem is. It seems to run super rich all the time. And it just won't rev all the way up. And I don't know if those two things are related or not. There's not a whole lot of things that can cause an engine to run rich. You know, mass airflow sensor, O2 sensor, injectors, fuel pressure regulator. He did change the injectors, so that's something to keep in mind. I don't know. I still kind of think it might be a plugged up converter. I don't know how we can test that. Guess we could see if we can get the O2 sensor out and jam something in there. I pulled the bank 2 upstream O2 sensor out and threaded in the compression tester. Let's fire it up and see how much pressure we got there. Japers, we better do it quickly. Pretty sure we're not supposed to have 35 pounds of exhaust back pressure. So I think that's going to be the answer. It's got a plugged up catalytic converter. These Hondas are notorious oil burners, so I'm not surprised that the cats are nuked. We've got multiple choice here on catalytic converters. There's one there, and then I'm pretty sure that's one there. The problem seems to be affecting at least 5 out of the 6 cylinders. So my money is on that guy right there. I don't know, I'm thinking maybe we can clip those nuts off and split the pipe right there.
What are you doing?
Do you want to render your expert opinion?
I'm only good at changing an oil. Which there's an arrow pointing, telling me where that is on this car. Ooh, that's warm. Ooh, don't touch that.
You know what's funny? There's like a solid 12 inches of headroom above you, and I cannot stand up straight under this car.
Oh yeah, because you are a solid 12 inches above me.
Yeah. I think it's got a plugged up catalytic converter.
That seems
We're gonna find out, I think.
plausible.
Yeah, it's, as far as rust goes, it's really not too bad.
It really isn't.
For an 09.
Oh, this is an O. Oh, this looks really good. This almost looks new though. Like, does it have a new? Ooh, that's also warm.
Yeah, it's been running. The exhaust is hot. Okay, well, I'm gonna split that exhaust and then we can get dinner.
Okay. My name came up and blah blah blah. And then after I went, when you stop talking to me,
Oh, whatever. Nobody cares anyway.
is this gonna be a 2-hour-long video?
I hope not.
Maybe I should have done the parent advisory.
I need you to be impressed that I buzzed those 3 nuts off without even damaging the threads. While listening to you rant about students.
I feel like you could probably fix this entire car and make a YouTube video while you rant about my students and their parents. You're a pro.
Oh, lady, I think we found the problem.
Mouse.
No, not a mouse.
What is everyone gonna do if I'm in 2 videos and like so close together?
I don't know. Hey, lady.
Yeah.
There's your problem. Your catalytic converter came apart. Yeah, there's not supposed to be big chunks of it laying inside.
Wouldn't that make an awful noise?
Yeah, it didn't sound great. So now the question is, did those chunks come from that converter or from one above it?
There's 2?
There's 3.
There's 3?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I don't know the answer to that question, but I'd say we're on to something. Okay, time for dinner. Oh man. I tried. I really did. But I think there's a bigger problem. That is one sick puppy. I pulled the bank 1 upstream O2 sensor and moved the compression gauge back there. We're going to do the same test again because something's still wrong. Huh. Okay, well, maybe that one's okay. I've been operating under the assumption that the smoke was from excess fuel. But it would appear that the smoke is from excess oil. Like way excess oil. That compression gauge was in there for about 5 seconds, just coated in oil. So I think we've got a major problem with the rings on bank 1. Well, I think I found the problem. So this is cylinder number 3. And you can see she's pretty oily. If we flip to the side view, that is just oil pooling up on top of the piston. I don't know where it's coming from. If it's coming up from the rings or down from the valves. But that should not be there. And while we got it open, we might as well look in the catalytic converter. The honeycomb looks pretty well plugged to me. Maybe not enough to cause high back pressure, but it certainly isn't flowing the way that it should, and you can see it's just coated in oil. Yeah, cylinder number 2 is actually worse. There's a puddle of oil on top of the piston. Gosh, where's it all coming from? You know, number 1's not as bad. It's still pretty bad. Yeah, what a mess. So, I'm in the side view. That is the valve. Guessing the intake valve. Do you see that? There's something stuck in the head above the valve. I don't know what it is. It's white. Piece of plastic, maybe? I wonder if I should pull the intake off and see if there's something stuck in there. Sure looks like it. Yep, I see it. Alright, can you see it? Right there. Looks like a plastic clip, or maybe a zip tie. I don't know, I can't get it out of there. There it is. Alright. There's the money shot. Unbelievable. It would appear to be one of these zip ties for the injector harness. That one's broken too. And that one and that one. And there's more pieces. I don't know what to do. Just never seen anything like this before. I mean, the catalytic converter was plugged. Obviously, that's problem number 1. There's a ton of oil in the bank 1 cylinders. That's problem number 2. And then we found a freaking plastic clip on top of the intake valve. That's problem number 3. But I don't know if any of those things explain why this car runs like crap and smokes like a freight train. Do I put the intake back on and then just see what happens? It's got good compression. I checked all 6 cylinders. As far as I can tell, they're fine. Yeah, I really don't know. This is bizarre. I guess we got nothing to lose except more time, and I've already wasted plenty of that, so we might as well keep digging this hole. Pretty big oil leak. It's actually running pretty good, but it's still smoking a lot. Let's give her the beans. She didn't like that. Max, get out while you can, pup. Are you practicing for your part as the shivering dog in the ASPCA commercial? I think you got it down, pup. I think we better put a fork in it because it is done. It's just burning a crazy amount of oil on bank 1. The only reason it's running good right now is because I cleaned all the plugs. As soon as they foul again, we're going to have more misfires and we'll be right back where we started. So I don't know what the exact problem is. We still have good compression on those 3 cylinders, but somehow they're passing a ton of oil past the rings. It's not a PCV problem. The crankcase pressure is fine. It's just, I think it's just worn out. You know, there used to be a time when I could actually fix things instead of just doing automotive autopsies. I think this is my 3rd or maybe 4th bad news phone call this week. Somebody dropped their car off for a relatively simple repair, and I had to call them and tell them to come get it and take it to the crusher. That's my verdict on this one. It needs to be made into bottle caps. I think the whole problem is just excessive oil consumption. I don't know if it's the valve seals or the rings or what's causing it, but something on the bank 1 cylinders is causing a massive amount of oil consumption. And even if it wasn't misfiring from the plugs being fouled, which it is, you can't drive it that way. I mean, it would run out of oil and seize up post haste. I don't know. A lot of red herrings on this one too. The plastic clip on top of the intake valve is definitely not good, but I don't think it's related to this problem. The engine sticking at high RPM is very bizarre. I don't have an explanation for that, but I also don't think it's related to this problem. The catalytic converter being plugged up is a symptom of the oil consumption, but I don't think it's the cause of the problems. I gotta call it quits though. I've got about 7 hours in this project, which obviously I can't bill them for, but I was trying to satisfy my own curiosity, trying and failing, because as per usual, we end the video with more questions than answers, but I guess that's okay. Thanks for watching. I'll throw in some more of my failed attempts to fix a vehicle at the end here. So earlier this week, I looked at an older Yukon or Tahoe. The guy told me it needed a brake line, and it was pretty obvious that it needed a whole lot more than that. So this left front wheel bearing is completely spanked. It appears to be leaking quite a lot of engine oil. And it's going to need all the brake lines. They're all leaking. So there's 4 going to the front. The one going to the rear has been replaced. On this vehicle, that's actually the easy one. But those fuel lines aren't far behind. And speaking of that, the fuel tank is falling out. The rear strap is broken and gone. But it gets better. The driver's side rear brake is real stiff. Oh. But the passenger side is the real problem. So the inner pad is completely gone. I think we're down to the pistons, maybe even a little past that. The hitch is real good though. The truck's just rotted out. I mean, the diff cover's rusted through and leaking, the engine's puking out oil. So I told him I didn't want to work on it, and he was okay with that. He came and got it, and he left me his other truck. It has problems with the steering. Apparently the steering will lock up sometimes, and then other times it's fine. So the key is on, the wheels are jacked up, And indeed, I cannot turn the steering wheel. That's about as far as I can go. Okay? So I've seen this before several times. This is a common problem on these solid four-wheel drive front axles. So what has happened is the U-joint has seized up, and it's only one of the crosses that's seized up. So right now I can't steer the wheel. If I lock the hub in and then move the U-joint, now I can steer it no problem. But if I go a quarter turn, can't steer it at all. Looks like that lower ball joint's pretty well hashed too. But there's a bigger problem. This is the frame rail. Those 3 bolts there hold the steering box in. It is completely rotted out. Yeah, there's just nothing left. Unfortunately, that's a common problem on these trucks. Well, on all of these box frame trucks. So the truck just needs a complete front end rebuild. Brakes, U-joints, ball joints, maybe tie rod ends, and an alignment. But I can't just pretend like I didn't see that rotted out frame rail. I mean, that's the main support for the steering box. And that's where I draw the line. I'm not fixing a rotted out frame. I always get comments every time I show that on a video. Oh, that's a 20-minute welding job. And I always reply the same way. Please send me your address. I've got a lot of work to send you, and no one has ever gotten back to me. So it's an easy job, but they don't want to do it either. The last thing I need is for this thing to get in an accident and some ambulance chasing lawyer to come after me. Okay, well, I gotta make a phone call and be the bad guy. All right, thanks for watching.